My mother kept steering things toward the past, how they'd thought of me often and how they wished things had been different. Not once did she mention why things were the way they were. Then came the real reason. She finally admitted they were having a hard time financially. The business my father had owned for years had collapsed. Bad investments, poor decisions, a little too much arrogance, whatever the cause, it was gone. And without it, they were drowning in debt. Still, she didn't ask for anything. Not yet. Just laid the groundwork, waiting for me to offer. A few days later, my father called. His number had been blocked for years, so they must have gotten a new one. The moment I answered, I knew something was different. Gone was the man who called me useless and said I'd never make it. He sounded warm, friendly. He asked about my life, my job, how things were going for me. The same man who blocked me for existing was suddenly the doting father. I played my part. Told him I was doing well. That work was steady. I made sure to keep details vague. But I could hear it in his voice. The realization that I wasn't struggling. That I was actually successful. That's when it really hit him. I had a good paying career. I had money. And they needed money. It didn't take long. My mother called again a few days later, slipping it into conversation. The house, the mortgage, the unpaid bills. My father had miscalculated, and now they were months behind. If they didn't come up with the money soon, they would lose everything. There was no question in her voice. No asking. Just an assumption that of course I would step in. That I, the daughter they discarded without a second thought, would swoop in and save them. I let the silence stretch. Then I told her I'd think about it. I could almost hear the relief in her voice. That was enough for them. They latched onto it like it was a lifeline. Over the next few weeks, I let them believe they had a chance. I visited for the first time in years. Sat in the same living room where they had once locked me out. Let them feed me the story, piece by piece. I asked about their finances, pretending I wanted to understand the full picture. They spilled everything. Mortgage payments behind by months. Credit card debt stacked high. My father's business loans were in default. They were running out of time, and they had no one else to turn to. The more they saw of me, the more they realized how much they had underestimated me. My car wasn't brand new, but it was nice. My clothes weren't designer, but they were high quality. I wasn't barely scraping by. I was thriving. That's when the guilt trip started. My mother started talking about family. How hard it was for them to reach out. How she regretted the past but knew we could move forward. My father, once too proud to admit failure, now sat in front of me talking about second chances. I nodded, listened, pretended to care, and told them I needed more time. One night, while I was visiting, I noticed a folder on the kitchen table. Overdue bills, credit card statements, a foreclosure notice stamped in red. That's when I knew. They were completely screwed. No safety net, no backup plan. If I didn't help them, no one would. And that's exactly what I wanted. I left that night with a smile on my face and told them I'd figure things out and see what I could do. They thanked me like I had already handed them a check. They had no idea. This time I was the one in control. Update 2. Weeks passed, and my parents grew more desperate. At first they played it cool, dropping casual mentions of their tight situation, hoping I'd jump in with an offer. When I didn't, the messages became more frequent. Then, the calls started. My mother's voice carried a forced lightness, but the cracks were showing. My father barely spoke. The silence from him said more than words ever could. I let them wait. Every time they brought up the mortgage, I told them I was thinking about it, that I needed to figure things out. Each delay sent them spiraling further. The due dates crept closer. Their polite hints turned into outright pleas. I still gave them nothing. I made a point to visit again. Sat in the same house where they abandoned me and let them pour their misery out. I nodded, sighed at the right moments, even reached out